This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this will be like a vitamin or a supplement for your heart and mind. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom? Leave a rating and a brief written review. It will enable others to be able to locate this podcast. And please help spread the word, would you? I want to talk today about the subject of clarity. This is something you will see repeated over and over in leadership material. It's a major portion of Brendon Burchard's books, High Performance Habits. Matter of fact, I'm going to share a couple of lines from that book to you. I highly recommend it for your reading. But until you get clarity, until you get really clear on who you are, where you come from, and where you've been, and more importantly, where you see yourself going in the future, you'll not get unstuck very easily. As a matter of fact, Brendon Burchard in his book High Performance Habits says that he has found that if you can increase someone's clarity, you up their overall high performance and their high performance score. Clarity is the child of careful thought and mindful experimentation by seeing, is this something that will help me? Clarity research tells us that successful people know the answers to certain fundamental questions. They know who they are. They know what they do and what they value. They know their strengths and weaknesses. They also are goal-oriented and know their goals. It may seem basic, but a lot of people are muddy and unclear about these subjects and therefore don't really have clarity. It really has to do with how well do you know yourself, not a stuck in the past with myself, but I'm even preparing for my future self. You need to have unambiguous and challenging goals. You should give yourself deadlines for your goals. That'll give you clarity. Again, someone who exhibits clarity in their life is someone who says, I know who I am. I'm clear about what my values and principles are. I know my strengths and I'm quite aware of my weaknesses. I know what I want in life. I know where I'm headed. I'm clear about my goals. I know that which I'm passionate about. I know how to get where I'm going. And I have a plan to achieve my dreams. Well, that's quite a mouthful, but let's just talk about how do you get clarity and where do you get clarity. First of all, you need clarity because it will help you, number one, with the direction that you are heading. You see, a lack of clarity could very well put the brakes on your journey into a preferable future. It's not just enough to know where you've come from, to know your story, to know the great things you've overcome. You must absolutely know where you are headed, what direction you are going. You can't give direction to others until you know your direction and you are moving in that direction. It gives you clarity. Until you get clarity, everything becomes a priority. Whoever yells the loudest, whoever makes the best case today, well, you'll say, that sounds good, maybe I should do that. That you have to have clarity, because without clarity, you won't just slow down, you will literally come to a complete stop. But when you know who you are, where you've been, you know the good, the bad, and the ugly, you have confidence for the future, and though you're not exactly where you want to be in the future, you are on the way. You're not stuck. You see, people without clarity are stuck on who they used to be, and stuck on the someone did me wrong story, and are stuck on, well, I guess that's just where I have to be. Whereas a person with crystal clear clarity, and that's a over extension of the word clear, But a person with clarity knows where they're going in the future, and they know the kind of person they desire to be in the future. The good thing about clarity is the people who are clear, who have absolute clarity about their future, they are passionate. As a matter of fact, I think passion and clarity just sort of feed on each other. There are few things in life more powerful than a life lived with passionate clarity. That's Pastor Erwin McManus who said that. There are few things more powerful than a life with passionate clarity. You may not have all the talent, the looks, you may not even have the intellectual acumen that others have, but if you have a passionate purpose and a passionate clarity of where you are headed, you will beat the competition. You will make it. Oftentimes people say, how do I get passion? How do I become passionate? Know who you are, know where you are, and know where you're headed. You're not stuck in the past. You're not done in the present. You are moving forward, and you know the kind of person you want to be and the kind of things you want to do, and it fuels you with an insatiable amount of passion. When you have clarity, your life takes meaning. Many folks are quite discouraged by all of the things, much of which was out of their control, about where they were born, what they looked like, who their parents were, and on and on. But when you get clear about it is, you begin to see there were lessons and things learned, that your childhood, your early adulthood, your former jobs, they weren't a waste of time. They gave your life color and texture and meaning, and you learned invaluable lessons that you can take into the future. Cut through all the complexity and find the meaning, find who you are, and now believe you can be that person you desire to be in the future. Many people believe that overcomplicating things is the way to go. That is just the way that most people live. Clarity is a hard thing to do, though it's simple. But once you sit down and figure it out, here's who I was, here's who I am, but here's who I see myself being. Here is the direction that I'm headed. And when you get a passion about that and a direction for your life, and you derive a meaning from it, nothing can stop you. A wall can't stop you. The enemy can't stop you. Your family, your friends, the lack of finances, the lack of know-how, none of those things will stop you. You will find a way to make it happen. And leader, when you get clarity, it will make you laser focused. You see, there isn't just much meaning, or the meaning is unclear until you really get focused on that meaning. It's not just enough to know, here's my direction, and I'm somewhat passionate about it, and I know what my life's meaning is. You have to be focused on the right thing, and that is, so many people I talk with are stuck in their past. They have built prisons out of the past. Set yourself free from the prison. Move. You are not forever a slave to your past. You can be set free and move into the future. You can become the person that it was intended you to be. But you need to focus not so much on what you don't have, what you're lacking, the way it used to be, but rather you need to be focused like a laser on the person you are becoming and where you are headed. One of the great ways to see this happen and to accomplish this in your life is for you to develop the ability to tell your stories. You and I have wonderful stories that we can tell. Now, most of us don't want to talk about ourselves, or we know that people get weary hearing those stories, but develop the stories that talk about how you discovered your direction. Begin to tell a story why you have the passion and the faith that you have right now. Leader, tell the stories of why you discovered what your meaning and your purpose in life was. Tell stories how you developed your focus. And leader, a sense of clarity really, really motivates. I mean, it just motivates you to be your very best. We're great that we live in an era and a part of the world where you don't have to be what you used to be. You can be whatever you can be. And clear thinking requires courage. Now, there's a lot to be said for intelligence and learning. I spent most of my adult life going to school, trying to receive an education and getting a couple of degrees. But the fact of the matter is clear thinking with a sense of direction and a passion, and you know your meaning, and you're focused, that will take you so far you have no idea. And I just want to motivate you today. Once you get clear thinking and the courage of your convictions to live by it, and you see that preferable future in your mind's eye, and you're not forever stuck being the person you used to be or you are today, but who your future self is going to be, and that's where you're headed. If you have that, you will be, my brother and sister, unstoppable. And for a leader, when you get clarity, it gives you a clear vision of why you were here. It's not just enough in the world to be born. The second greatest day is when you discover the reason why you were born. You were born to make a difference and to lead into the future. I think I would like to kind of wind this all down as I talk about the leader and clarity by just asking you some questions. And I realize you may be at the gym, you may be riding in an automobile, so you may not be able to write these questions down, but here they are. Ask yourself right now, these will be some clarifying questions. Who am I as a leader? Now, we're not talking about initially who do you want to be as a leader, but who are you right now as a leader? Take time and really reflect on that. Some of you will say, well, I'm not really a leader. Well, you're leading something somewhere, and if nothing else, you're leading yourself. The second question gets a little broader. How do I want to lead? In other words, what kind of a leader do I see myself being? How do I want to lead? What kind of a leader do I want to be? Then ask yourself, who am I leading? Is it myself? Is it my children? Is it where I work? Is it in my business? Is it in the Sunday school class at church? Is it in the organization where I volunteer? Who am I leading? Then ask this question, how can I serve others? You and I, as leaders, aren't meant to be up on a pedestal where people revere and honor us and give us perks. As a leader, you and I are in that position to be a servant and to serve. It was Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who said he came to serve. If Jesus came to serve, then it would behoove all of us to see ourselves as servants as well. Another question you might ask yourself, a clarifying question, is how can I empower others to lead? It's not just enough to lead ourselves and to become the best leaders that we possibly can become, and that should be a goal. That is a worthwhile and a worthy goal. But a part of this also is, how can I develop people around me? How can I pour my life into others that they will be the leaders in this and their generation? What am I going to do to empower them? How will I train them? How will I equip them? How will I encourage them? How will I foster in them the spirit and attitude of leadership? And the last question would be, how does my leadership reflect my integrity? You can say a lot of things and you can tell us all about yourself, and it would be wonderful, and I would love to hear it. But the fact of the matter is, do those who are under your leadership, do they see your integrity at work? Do they know you are a principle-centered leader? Oftentimes, and in today's world, too many of our leaders are personality driven, not just by their own personality, but if it's somebody they like, or they'll act one way. If it's someone they're not particularly close to, they'll act another. It doesn't matter. People come and go. Our principles need to be solid and the same. And my hope for you today, my leadership friend, is that you will develop clarity and you will be able to see all that you need to do. You can and are making a difference. My leadership friend, you have been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today it's been like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom and pass the word around. Remember, my leadership friend, you are doing better than you think you are. You really are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying, have a great and blessed day.